What up, YouTube? So, tomorrow I turn 34 years old. And I'd like to go over 10 things that I've learned with turning 34. So let's get straight to it. Number one, time. At 34 years old, I value time a lot more. You know, I try to spend it wisely because I know, especially now, like, that life is fast and time is money, as I say. Everything goes by faster now, I feel like, than in my 20s because now I'm busy, you know. Work, relationships, you know, errands. Time is just going by super fast. And it's very valuable. At my age now, I just look in the mirror, I see whites, you know, the Grim Reaper's calling. Well, so number two, friends. At 34, a lot of people, your early 30s, even your late 20s, you know, your friend circle start to thin out. People start getting responsibilities, start getting married, start having kids. You know, you lose a lot of your friends. Most people, at least, they lose a lot of... Bro! Okay, thank God it's still recording. I thought it stopped recording again. But yeah, anyway, you lose a lot of your friends, you know. Just be happy if you have any good friends in your 30s and hold on to them, because everybody is so busy. Everybody moves on to their own paths in life. And it's harder to make friendships nowadays. Well, nowadays and when you're in your 30s, especially 34. So yeah, friends, you're not gonna have, you know, it's harder to make friends, it's harder to maintain relationships, and you want to really hang on to the good friends you have. Number three, I feel like I fit in still with like younger people, like in the 20s and whatnot, like Gen Z and everything. Like I feel like I can relate and talk to them and I still feel like young. And at the same time, I feel like I can relate with the older generations and older people more now, being in my mid-30s. Well, yeah, 34 is mid-30s. But yeah, like you kind of feel like in the middle. At least I personally do. Let's see, number four, work. When you're 34, you kind of need to have a career going. You know, you gotta kind of figure out what it is you want to do. Hopefully by then, you know, you have a solid, stable job, you know, but you gotta at least be working at 34. You know, you're not in your 20s anymore. You can't really just, you know, live with your parents and just slack off. Not everyone, at least, or a majority of people, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you gotta really focus on working, your career. And shit, most of us at 34 years old, we're working a lot. So, and that comes to number five, mindset. Now, mindset is huge, not only at this age, but in life in general. You know, a lot of people struggle with victim mindsets. They want to sit around and cry and bitch and moan and blame all their problems on everyone else and make excuses. You know, at 34, you really gotta, you know, take accountability, look at your life, and really focus on positivity and progression and, you know, just bettering yourself and try to stay positive. Like, you really, like, your mindset is, you gotta really work on your mindset, especially at 34, you know, you know what I mean? So let's go on to number six, which kind of ties into mindset, which is your purpose. You should have, you don't have to, but at 34, I feel like having a purpose, you know, and whether it's a passion like you're working on, like, for example, I'm trying to get my YouTube channel going. You know, you should have a purpose of, maybe it's your family, your wife, your, you know, like anything, music. Like, you need to have a purpose at this age, for sure. You can't just be directionless in life. So there's that. Number seven, grief. In your 30s, you're going to start losing family members. you know, you're gonna have to deal with grief eventually, and you're gonna realize that it's unfortunately a part of life, and you're really gonna have to face it. You know, for me personally, I lost my daughter last year. Just recently I found out that one of my family cats is basically needs to be put down. You know, you're gonna deal with grief, especially when you get in your 30s. You know, in your 20s, most of your family and friends are still young. You usually don't have to deal with it as much, but at 34, you're definitely gonna have to deal with grief. Number 8, you gotta have a bigger picture. At 34, I feel like, me personally, I have a bigger picture and outlook on life and myself. Like, I know myself more. Like, I feel like at 34, you've had so much life experience. You know, like, your personality's established. You know what you like, what you don't like, what you tolerate, what you don't tolerate. And I feel like most people, like myself, has had a good amount of time to look at life and think of life in a bigger picture, you know? Definitely. I feel like in your 20s, most people are just kind of cruising through life. They don't necessarily think deeply about things. Not everyone, but, or even, I would say through your 20s, you're kind of putting everything together, you know, you're piecing everything together. It comes with age, but definitely for me personally, I feel like I have a bigger picture of life. Like, you know, I know myself. I feel like I've gotten a good grasp on life as a whole. So let's go to number 9. Number 9. You got to have goals for sure at 34, and you got to be thinking about your future. Your career, if you want to have a family, you know, your finances, your savings, what you've invested in, you know, like, you gotta really start setting goals and, like, really locking in and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps at this age, for sure. Like, 34, you definitely can't play around and be lazy. I mean, you can, some people do, but it's just, you gotta start thinking about your future for sure. And finally, number 10 is family. You know, you gotta, at 34, I realize how much value family has. You know, you gotta value your time with your family. You gotta prioritize your family, because they're not gonna be around forever. You know, you gotta make time for them, keep in contact with them, and basically, your family is really the most important thing in your life. You know, not all family, everybody has different families, and, you know, just because somebody's your family, or, you know, doesn't mean you have to tolerate their behavior or disrespect. But at the same time, like, you really want to value your family and keep those relationships going, and to spend as much time as you possibly can with them. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed my 10 things that I've learned about turning 34, and hopefully you got some insight. I kind of felt a little bit rushed because I'm on my break at work right now, but yeah, I just wanted to bang out a video real quick. And if y'all liked it, please give me a like and subscribe. I plan on making more videos. I feel like I'm gonna start going ham on videos on YouTube in general. Like, I really am motivated to keep building this channel and keep making videos. So love y'all, have a blessed day, and take it easy.